Mabuhay, people of the Philippines! We're done with our last lesson for this school year and for Berkeley School's distance learning program. For this last lesson, it would probably be the most significant and most memorable among all the lessons you've been learning about Philippine history since you were in first grade. Sadly, sixth grade is the last year that you will be talking about and learning about the Philippines. But I hope that you keep on learning about the Philippines, its culture, its history, and of course, the Filipino identity. And for this last lesson, it does not just talk about the last presidents of the Philippine Republic, but it also talks about your duty as a citizen to the continuing response to the issues of and challenges of independence and nationhood. Here are the lesson objectives. First, study one significant program created by the presidents to respond to the challenges to the nationhood of the Filipinos from 1986 to present. Second, give importance to the part each citizen plays in the promotion of the country's progress. The Marcos regime, which lasted for 20 years, ended in the evening of February 25, 1986. This was the start of the rebirth of democracy in the country. However, the people's victory over the oppressive dictatorship was just the beginning of an arduous process of picking the country up and starting anew. When the Philippines broke free from Marcos' dictatorship, a democratic government was reborn. It was the kind of government that the Filipinos believed would allow freedom and justice to reign. From 1986 to the present, the government continues to act, to care for the democracy that the people have fought for, as well as the progress in the nationhood that the Philippines has attained. Here are some of the programs and policies that the presidents of the country from 1986 created to respond to the challenges of independence and democracy. First, we have Corazon C. Aquino from February 1986 to June 1992. With her words, "Without the right values in the people, a democracy is only a confederacy of fools." Corazon Aquino was the first woman president of the Republic of the Philippines. Her early years of administration was a transitory government. Some called it a revolutionary government because it was established during the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution, but it was a government based on the will of the people and guaranteed human rights of the people. Under her administration, the problems to be solved include reorganization of the government, revival of democracy, protection of human rights, maintenance of peace and order, and stabilizing the economy. President Aquino did a lot of things to take care of the newly won democracy of the nation. She first reorganized the government. She asked the leaders appointed by Marcos to step down. She formed her cabinet of 14 ministers, ordered the release of political prisoners, and restored the writ of habeas corpus. She opened the doors of Malacanang Palace to the public and preferred to work at the guest home. Aquino's administration's greatest legacy is the creation of a new constitution. The need for a new constitution was the top priority at the moment. President Aquino issued Proclamation No. 3 on March 25, 1986 promulgating a temporary or freedom constitution. But let's define what is a constitution. A constitution is defined as the established laws of a country that embody the ideals, aspirations, and goals of the people. Through this set of laws, the people are guided in all endeavors. Basically, a constitution is a set of laws that will protect the citizens' rights and define their duties to fulfill national development. The promulgation of the Freedom Constitution stated that the country would adopt a provisional constitution during the time of transition until a government under a new constitution is established. The Freedom Constitution became the basis for the government reorganization. Some government offices were abolished, others were renamed. The Batasang Pambansa and the Office of the Prime Minister were abolished. The ministers were renamed executive departments headed by secretaries. Because the Batasang Pambansa was abolished, the president now had the power to pass executive orders. However, the Freedom Constitution set limitations on the power of the president. The administration created a constitutional commission. President Aquino appointed the members of the commission from different sectors of society: education, labor, military, cause-oriented groups, arts, commerce, industry, agriculture, youth, and others. There were 48 members of the commission. Justice Cecilia Muñoz Palma was appointed head of the commission. They were tasked to complete the new constitution within 3 months. The painful experiences of the Filipino people during the martial law years guided the members of the Constitutional Commission in writing the provisions of the new constitution. The new constitution was approved by the people in a plebiscite held on February 2, 1987, which was then called the 1987 Philippine Constitution. The 1987 Philippine Constitution provided for a presidential form of government. There were 3 branches of the government: legislative, executive, and judicial. The 1987 Constitution was a significant improvement on previous constitutions. For the first time, the country had a constitution that included a detailed section on human rights. It enshrined the idea that Philippine society must be built solidly on the foundations of basic civil, political, economic, social, cultural rights, and freedoms. The 1987 Constitution also reorganized or recognized the political, social, and cultural participation of all sectors of society, rich or poor, men or women, or indigenous peoples. The Constitution was designed to prevent any repetition of the Marcos dictatorial era that allowed only one ruler and his cronies to monopolize economic and political power. Cory Aquino was the president between 1986 and 1992. On August 9, 2009, she died from illness. She will always be remembered for the courage, for challenging President Marcos, and for inspiring millions of Filipinos to take part in the EDSA People Power Revolution. Next up, we have Fidel V Ramos, who was actually the vice president during the presidency of Corazon Aquino. He served the Philippines as the president from June 1992 to June 1998. Quote-unquote, "This is a manifestation that democracy in our country is very much alive and protected by both government and the people." We have a title for his presidency, Pursuit of Economic Growth, because President Ramos' program of government centered on the country's economic development. President Ramos took his oath of office in June 1992 in a simple inauguration ceremony. He insisted that any display of luxury was inappropriate given the country's economic condition. In his inaugural address, he announced that his priorities would be reform, change, and growth. President Ramos hoped to solve the country's economic problems through programs that will solve poverty problems, creation of jobs, and of course, economic development. The numerous state visits he made were done to strengthen the economic and diplomatic relations with those countries. That's why Fidel V. Ramos envisioned Philippines 2000, a plan for the country to attain the status of a newly industrialized country, NIC, like its neighboring countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, and South Korea by the year 2000. Thus, Ramos and his economic ministers and advisors emphasized rapid economic growth based on export-oriented industrialization. The Ramos administration followed the IMF and World Bank guidelines on securing loans for investments and for infrastructures. President Ramos' plans of economic growth was carried out through the support of Philippine-made products, modernization of agriculture, improvement of tourism industry, and protection of foreign investors in the country. Next, we have Joseph Ejercito Estrada, who served the country between June 1998 and January 2001. Quote and unquote, "We have to change the system. The system is very rotten. The executive is corrupt. The Congress is corrupt. The judiciary is corrupt. So what's left? We really have to have a radical and surgical change to bring back the image of our country." Estrada, a former movie actor who entered politics in 1967, served as mayor, became a senator, and served as vice president during Ramos' term. Joseph Estrada became the 13th President of the Philippines. For him, we have the title Spotlight on the Poor. President Estrada was the president in 1998, making him the centennial president because the Philippines celebrated its 100 years of independence on the said year. President Estrada took his oath of office at the historic Rosoin Church of Malolos, Bulacan, where the 1898 Constitution was drafted and approved by the members of Malolos Congress. He said that his primary concern was to lift every poor Filipino from their condition. He promised to solve graft and corruption in the government. He even challenged corrupt officials saying, "Huwag niyo akong subukan," or "Don't try me." He promised to work on various political and economic reforms to alleviate or improve the condition of his countrymen. President Estrada was popular among the masses. He tried to reach out to the poor and improve the countryside. He launched his Angat Pinoy program through the slogan, "Erap para sa mahirap," or "Erap for the poor," that will eventually create programs that would make the country economically self-sufficient and its citizens globally competitive. This program also aimed to attend to the problems of poverty in the country, which focus on poverty eradication program, which are pro-poor policies and programs. That includes low-cost housing, protection and promotion of welfare of laborers, increase in the funds of healthcare, roads in barrios were constructed so that the farmers can transport their produce to other places like cities faster, move public facilities, equipment, and services were built and created under the Poverty Eradication Program. President Estrada did not finish his term due to the EDSA People Power II, wherein different sectors of Filipinos marched in different places of Metro Manila calling on him to resign from his position. The pro-poor program of his administration did not improve the living conditions of the Filipinos. Next in line, we have Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, who served the Philippines from January 2001 to June 2010. For her, the power of one if fearless and focused is formidable, but the power of many working together is better. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was the daughter of former President Diosdado Macapagal, so she grew up and experienced politics. President Arroyo was inaugurated as the 10th President of the Philippine Republic of the Philippines on January 30, 2001, when President Estrada stepped down from Malacanang Palace. We have a title for her, Search for Stability, or in general, economic stability. President Arroyo took her oath of office as the President of the Philippines before Supreme Court Chief Justice Hilario David Jr. She focused on various economic issues and reforms such as the fight against poverty, which will benefit the poor and the marginalized sector, towards realization on becoming a newly industrialized country, just like what President Ramos was aiming for. Some of her significant programs were, first, we have Kapit Bisig Laban sa Kahirapan or Kalahi program. He implemented Kalahi program to combat poverty. The purpose of this project was to help improve the ability of local government units to conduct steps to improve the lives of the people. Some of these steps include infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, constructing barangay schools and clinics, and improving the supply of irrigation and sanitation in communities. Next, we have Self-Employment Assistance Kaunlaran or CK program to help the poor. This aimed to provide thousands of jobless Filipinos with the capital needed to start a business. Also, with the help of microfinancing and enterprise development, many small businesses were started and were funded. Next, we have Tindahan ni Gloria La Bandera rolling stores were made available. These stores aimed to provide the poor with the opportunity to buy food and medicines at a lower price. Next, we have the Basic Education Curriculum. She ordered the Department of Education to implement the Basic Education Curriculum to raise the quality of education in the country. Further, as well as to restore the use of the English language as the medium of instruction in all schools to help make the Filipinos more globally competitive. Next, we have Benigno Simeon C. Aquino III, who served the Philippines from June 2010 to June 2016. For him, with proper governance, life will improve for all. And we have a title for him, Hopes for Stability. Noy Noy, as what people popularly call him, was the 11th President of the Philippine Republic and the 15th President of the Philippines. He was the son of Filipino martyr and hero Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. and former President Corazon C. Aquino. His platform of government is grounded on the legacy of his parents to the Filipino people, democracy and democratic processes. His administration focused on anti-corruption and good governance, poverty reduction and the empowerment of the poor, inclusive economic growth, just and lasting peace, the rule of the law, and integrity environment. Some of his significant programs are as follows. We have Botika ng Barangay or BNB, in which people who are poor can purchase cheap medicines approved by the Bureau of Food and Drugs. Next, we have expanded program on immunization. This was launched so newly born babies and children can receive free vaccines from barangay health centers. Next, we have Alaga Ka para sa Maayos na Buhay or Alaga Ka, which was aimed to provide primary health services to the 14.7 million poor Filipino families and to inform them about the services offered by Department of Health and PhilHealth. Among the services of the said program are providing micronutrient supplements and medicines for those who are pregnant, free seminars on proper family planning, medicines for TB, and free treatment in public hospitals. Next is Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or 4Ps. He enforced the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or the 4Ps. One of the people's primary rights is the right to lead a decent and peaceful life. The government continually strives to address the problem of poverty in the country. One of the ways that the Aquino administration is trying to achieve this is the 4Ps. The purpose of this program is to help poor families by providing them with financial assistance or cash grants that they can use for their needs in nutrition or health care and the education of their children aged 0 to 14. And lastly, we have the K-12 program. President Aquino believed that changes should be made to the country's system of education so students could respond to the demands of the present society better. In 2013, the President signed Republic Act No. 10533, which implemented the K-12 program. Under this law, 2 years were added to basic education. Benigno Aquino III's greatest desire is to improve the lives of the Filipinos and to stamp out corruption in the government. He believes that he can reach his goal by treading the straight path or matuwid na daan. As he said, kayo ang boss ko sa daang matuwid. Lastly, we have Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who serves the Philippines from June 2016 up to the present. As he said, no leader, however strong, can succeed at anything of national importance or significance unless he has the support and cooperation of the people he is tasked to lead and sworn to serve. President Duterte's presidency is faced with numerous challenges. He is the 16th President of the Philippines, currently serving the Filipinos today, and he is still making history out of his service. Let's hope and pray for him.